Hello, hello, everybody. My name is Clark Heron, aka the Hearing Hobo, and a good evening to every single one of you. Selection Sunday was yesterday. This video is coming out on Monday, but they finally decided the final 68 teams that will have a chance for a national championship. Granted, 4 of those teams will be quickly eliminated. We have 2 playing games on Tuesday, 2 more on Wednesday, and then we'll get to our final 64 teams that will start first round play on Thursday at noon. That being said, I wanted to help everybody out, and I'm so confident in my picks, I'm going to tell you exactly who I'm picking from the first round all the way to the national championship to be played in Minneapolis, Minnesota on April 8th. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at, for our first 2 videos, we're going to take a look at the East and West regions first round. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the East. The East, it's going to start off with the number 1 team overall in the tournament, which will be the Duke Blue Devils. Won the ACC tournament. Zion Williams is quite healthy at this point from his shoe blowout fiasco. That being said, let's not get too cute here. Yes, I know, Virginia. We'll talk about them a little bit later as a number 1 seed as a potential upset, but for Duke, I don't see Coach K having any issues with the winner of either North Dakota State or North Carolina Central. Let's go ahead and put them in the second round. Next up is going to be 8 seed versus the 9 seed, VCU versus UCF. And when you look at both of these teams, UCF is a much more balanced team comparatively to VCU, which struggles on the offensive side of the basketball, but is very good defensively. You could think of them as a different version of Virginia, especially last year, as a better comparison to this year's Tony Bennett squad. But for this game, I feel like it's going to be a very low-scoring game, which is going to be the factor to give VCU the opportunity to win this one and move on. Let's go ahead and pick them to meet Duke in the second round. For the third matchup, you have the 12-seeded Liberty versus Mississippi State. And I like this game for a couple different reasons. Number one, I don't think Liberty really has a great chance, but they do have some very good rounded basketball players themselves. But for Mississippi State, it's Quindary Weatherspoon. If he can get this offense going and get to his average of 18, a little over 18 points a game, Mississippi State should have no problems with Liberty. Let's go ahead and move them on to the second round. Next game up, you have St. Louis, the 13 seed, versus Virginia Tech, the 4 seed. The offense for Virginia Tech is simple. Give it to Blackshear. He's going to score. It's that simple. Now with St. Louis, they were kind of a team that wasn't supposed to be this far, but they won their conference title. They earned their spot to play Virginia Tech and will quickly be eliminated by Virginia Tech, at least in my opinion. So far, pretty chalk. I kind of like it, but you know there's going to be some upsets. And speaking of upsets, let's look at this next game. Maryland's going to have to play and wait to have the play-in game between either Belmont or Temple. 2 teams with legendary coaches. Here's the thing. I really think that there's a history behind it. Since the play-in games have started having 11 seeds coming into it, at least one of those teams that have won a play-in game has gone on to the first round of the tournament and won that game at least as well that same season, which is crazy. So one of these play-in games, this game or the others, going to get the win and then move on to beat the next team. I think it's this one, but there's a little history against me. I think Belmont's going to handle business against Temple. I could be wrong. But I think Belmont's going to handle it. I think they're the better scoring team. Temple might be a little bit better defensively, but Belmont, I think, is going to get the win. That being said, they'll head off against Maryland, who is in one of the best conferences, if not the best conference this season. They got 8 teams in there. Maryland, very streaky. Can be up and down. Play well, not play well. It's kind of up and down. That's why I feel like Belmont could pull off the victory. Here's the problem. Belmont is 0-for in the NCAA tournament. They have not won ever. But this is their year. Give them their opportunity. I'm going to go a little bit of history here and say Belmont finally gets their first win again in the NCAA tournament this way against Maryland. First upset on the board. I like it. Moving on. Yale versus LSU. Yale's pretty solid team. I haven't really watched a whole lot of the games. I don't think too many people have. But as for LSU, I've seen a lot of them. They beat the likes of Tennessee and Kentucky. And the unfortunate part here, and kind of fortunate depending on how you view the topic, is they're without their head coach, Will Wade, due to an FBI investigation in the wiretaps and allegedly what he said on those wiretaps. But that being said, and the reason I bring that up is because that team did not look the same in the SEC tournament. They felt like they were kind of a little off just because their coach not being there. But I think they're going to regroup a little bit. I think they're going to have no problems with Yale. LSU is just the better team here. Let's move them on to the second round. Last two matchups here, we've got Louisville versus Minnesota. And Minnesota is going to be coached by Rick Pitino Jr., whose father used to be the head coach at Louisville before the whole Adidas scandal came into play. Minnesota is another streaky Big Ten team. Really struggled, had some good runs, probably did a little bit more to get into this tournament than was expected of this team. As for Louisville, they're kind of underachieving a little bit. I think they're a little bit better team than what they were thought to be, especially with the head coaching situation, what happened there. I think Louisville's got this one. They were well tested in the ACC. I got them moving on to the second round. And then last but not least, Bradley versus Michigan State. Michigan State coming off of a series, or if I can say it, a Big Ten tournament championship as well as the regular season champion as well. Simply, let's move them ahead of Bradley for the second round. So, to recap the East, I have Duke and VCU moving on to the second round. I have Mississippi State facing Virginia Tech. I have Belmont upsetting that big first round, really the only chalk that's not chalk in this situation, having on to LSU. And then finally Louisville to face off against Michigan State. So, let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket itself. Boom! That's the wrong screen. Let's move on. There it is. That's the screen I want. Sorry about that, folks. As you can see, the background has changed. It has gone ahead and upgraded there. And I will be doing another video here shortly. It will be uploaded to my YouTube channel. I'll be talking about the West region here shortly. Until then, my name is Clark Heron, a.k.a. the Hairy Hobo, and I'm out.